With more than 200 years of total workforce experience in lubricants, Hi-Tec Oils is Australia's largest independent oil manufacturer, developing and producing oils, lubricants and additives. Hi-Tec engines need Hi-Tec Oils.
Round 1 of the Hi-Tec Oils Trans-Tasman Drifting Championship sees the best 8 drifters from New Zealand making the trip over to Australia. Let's get to know some of New Zealand's finest and their cars.
I've been drifting for the past 5 or 6 years now, out of Team DMNZ with my partner Drew Donovan. These are our 2 cars we've been building in Perth for the last 2 and a bit months. I'm really excited to be drifting alongside some Aussies, and yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be awesome.
Jodie and I have been drifting for sort of 6 or 7 years back home in New Zealand, and it's always been a goal to get over the ditch and eventually around the world with our driving. It's been great having Michael Prosnick in New Zealand, and I'd really love to see some more guys coming over, which is going to happen, you know. So this Trans-Tasman's really bringing the fields together between Australia and New Zealand, and you know, there's definitely some talent out here in Australia. So yeah, bring it on back home as well. It's going to be fun.
I've been drifting for about 11 years. I've won 2 championships, one in 06 and one in 2013. This is my VZ Holden that I built 2006. We've won a championship in this thing, so it's still competitive. And yeah, we're going to go out and have a ball against the Aussies today.
I've been drifting for about 10 years, doing the D1NZ season for the last 3 seasons. We had a really good season last year, and that's enabled us the opportunity to come over here and mix it with the Aussies. It's an awesome opportunity, and we're having a ball here at Winton. This Trans-Tasman series is such a good idea. You know, we get to compete with them here at Winton and then off to Sydney, and really looking forward to giving it our all back home at Christchurch and Pukekohe. You know, we love those tracks, we know those tracks, so we're going to really give it our all.
Winton's actually a cool track. It's a bit unfortunate because I actually like the back section a bit more than the front section here. But yeah, I like the fast transitions that we're doing through it, and just the big entry. It's really suited to the car style. So yeah, I think we've got a pretty good chance, and it's also really fun to drive too.
While we're over here, obviously they've got the upper hand with Sydney Motorsport Park. So we've never drifted there before, we've only ever seen it on TV. So yeah, we don't really know what to expect, but we know that they've got that track pretty locked down, and we're definitely going to have to bring our A game. But yeah, as soon as we get back on NZ soil, it's going to be the same situation. We know those tracks inside out, and yeah, we're really going to feed it to them there.
And so Winton it is. That's the location for our top 16. The first ever round of our Trans-Tasman series, thanks to Hi-Tec Oils. We're going drifting. Australia versus New Zealand. Anzac Spirit on hold just for a moment. And time to check out some of our top 16 highlights. It's quite simple. We pair them up, Aussie versus Kiwi, the whole way through.
Yeah, the ladder was actually decided on the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars standing of the drivers versus the D1NZ standing. So first battle here, Rob Arbolino subbing in for James Abbott up against Jody Verhurst. Very quick drive, actually leaving that V8 Supra in the dust and in the chase run again, putting a lot of pressure on Jody there. So Arbolino moving through to the top 8.
This was big. Steedman versus Moat. We would have assumed that with Moat's amazing form that he's in at the moment that he would just walk on through, but Steedman got the nod, and then Moat did enough to say, okay, we're going to have a rerun. It wouldn't be the only rerun. We send him out, Steedman again gets the advantage.
Yeah, really dialed driver, Kiwi over here from New Zealand. Seems to absolutely lap it up out in front, really kind of throwing Camo a bit off his game there and going for a third rerun, no advantage between the two. Cameron out in front there seems a lot more aggressive on that entry there, but Steedman really nailing the proximity, and that's why the judges awarded him a spot in the top 8.
Very cool indeed to have this guy in the country. Fanger Dan, we absolutely love to have the big names, and it's Dan Woodhouse up against Gavin Edwards, and amazingly Edwards putting the Century's Batteries car back on the boat in New Zealand, so to speak. He's a goner in the first round.
Yeah, New Zealander battling in Australia in an Australian car. Unfortunately got knocked out early. Another Aussie trying to defend the title was Glenn Atkins, but this was a really interesting one. 2 V8 powered cars. Andrew Redwood in the FC RX-7, Brad Toohey in the 8.6, and I mean, Redwood's speed is just absolutely phenomenal here. Watch how snappy he is through these transitions back. It's just a really quick car, and he deserved that spot.
Darren Kelly, the best from NZ, very close with Ant Billick. Advantage to Kelly on that time through, and a little bit of damage to the rear bar on that car. And it just looks like the Skyline just monsters the smaller Nissan around the track, doesn't it? And getting the win. So Kelly going through to be a part of the top 8. Now, this is the big news item of the day. Adam Davies and Scott Shenry. The first time through, advantage Davies, but there was some big drama around this.
Yeah, Davies driving the Mimico S14 of Dave Steiner. You can see here as they go for a switchback, a little bit aggressive, going for a spin, and Shembry left with no option. You know, it's either the car or the wall, and being a super nice guy as he is, Shembry picked to drive the car into the wall there rather than hitting and ruling out a New Zealand competitor.
Yeah, he saw what was happening in front of him, threw the car off the road to avoid contact. Check out the impact though, nasty stuff. Oh.
You can see how split second these decisions are as a driver. I mean, looking into the smoke screen of the car in front, he's decided to keep the lock on and go into the wall. And
well, he assessed the damage with something of a wry smile to the crowd. That's how they line up for the top 8. Bo Yates versus Drew Donovan. Redwood and Steedman, now that's an all-Kiwi affair. Edwards and Shemry. Now, Shemry got the nod. Dave has a bit of news about that one. Arbolino and Darren Kelly. So you would assume that after a nasty crash like that one, Shemry would be a goner, but
not with Shemry. You know, he's got a really dedicated team there, and these guys just absolutely rattled away on it over 20 minutes to actually put a whole new rear end suspension setup in that car and make it through to the top 8 battles. But we'll see that in a sec after Bo Yates versus Drew Donovan.
The Achilles Radials 86 running new tyres now. He had his own nasty crash at Sydney Motorsport Park, running a bit of a demo show alongside the V8 supercars back in August. And I tell you what, he has left Donovan in his smoke trail. Advantage Yates, no surprises there. Let's ride on board with one of our Kiwi visitors.
Donovan chasing there, just leaving a bit too much of a gap for a driver like Bo, who's obviously going to pack that speed on throughout the corners. And as he comes out onto the straight here, Bo's practically across the finish line.
Nice bit of handbrake work. You just flick it back and forward to help get that rear end around. Sequential box for the 86. Thinks about going for the handbrake, but he actually grabbed another gear and runs straight up the back of him. What happened there?
That was an unfortunate one there for Bo. I mean, chasing a slower car is something you really have to be considerate about and really look at the line of what the car in front of you is going to do. And it looked like from the flash of brake lights there that Bo was just expecting a much faster entry.
Now the win has been given to Yates, so the judges have gone with Bo on this one.
If you look at the in-car here, I mean, a very slow straight line entry. Donovan trying to pull that back and make it into some sort of entry, but Yates has already tried. You can see here the car was practically straight and then going for a reinitiation by the time Bo hit him. Bit of a mistake from the lead car there, and as much as the chase car does need to leave an equal distance when chasing a slower car, a mistake from the lead car there going into the first corner is how the judges are going to rule it.
Okay, Darren Kelly, D1 NZ champ. Definitely one of the best from across the ditch. And Arbolino, who's playing the sub role today.
Yeah, subbing in. He's a driver who's been in the scene for many years, you know, steps in and out of these competitions, actually spends the majority of his time building the quickest RB30s in the world for Matooks Racing. And you can see here when he does get a chance to get in the seat, a really clean chase driver, but up against the D1 NZ driver there of Darren Kelly, I mean, given a little bit of advantage purely due to that gap at the entry, and then again the width of the exit there coming onto the straight. Darren Kelly going much further out.
Let's see how Kelly goes in the chase.
What an aggressive drive out in the lead there from Arbolino. I mean, a lot of clutch and handbrake work early on, but those last two corners were flat, Chad.
Replay once again. Backs it in. You can hear the tyres complaining. And it's from this point onwards that you've pretty much committed one or two slight movements of the handbrake, but really it's about the right foot all the way across. And Arbolino getting the win too, so that's big news.
Not bad for a sub, hey, Chad?
Yeah, taking out Kelly. Massive news. Okay, Shemry and Edwards, all Aussie affair. Check out Shemry's car. Amazing that they even got this thing fixed. It's missing some panels, but I'll tell you what, he might be driving this through to the Final Four anyway.
I mean, not as well presented as we've normally come to expect from the Blaze unit cars, but I don't think anybody cares. Just to see Shemry back out there after such a big hit, and what a mammoth effort from the Blaze unit boys.
That car looks like it's been down at a demo derby at the Speedway. He's dusted it off, and he sent it on through. Small mistake, that one, for Edwards, and it's going to be pretty hard for him to overcome that.
Looks almost like a little bit of positive camber on the back wheel there. I mean, this car is by no means 100%, but classic Shemry is not one to be held out of the battle. He wanted to get back out there and see what he could do against these Kiwis.
How will he go in the chase? Handling, obviously, an issue.
Before getting to the Kiwis, obviously the barrier there is Gav Edwards, and he is not one to give up a position. Bit of a mistake there from Shemry, balancing out the mistake of Edwards earlier.
Was that enough to get Edwards back in the game? Only the judges will be able to answer that one for us. And it will go the way of Shemry. So Shemry does enough to get the win despite this little error right here.
Hard call for the judges there, Chad, but I mean, that was a slight extra width of the track, dropping a rear wheel, whereas Gav straightened up, cut over a corner. I mean, obviously the bigger mistake there, but not by much.
All Kiwi affair this one, Andrew Redwood and Dave Steedman. Couple names that our Aussie viewers might not know too much about, as Steedman throws it in, chasing down this man.
Very fast, that little FCRX7. You can see Steedman actually shallowing it out and not putting on as much angle as he has been in early runs, trying to get that speed through, trying to chase up to Redwood. But by this point in the first corner here, watch how quickly this FCRX7 just switches direction, puts that pedal down, and really just blazes away from the Mimico S14 behind him.
Very handy run indeed. And let's see which Kiwi will make the Final Four. You've seen how powerful it is out front. How does it go chasing? One for the Mazda fans. Oh, a little bit of a gap to make up.
A little bit wide there, making a similar mistake to Shemry earlier, and this time giving Steedman the advantage there.
And I wonder how the judges will score that one. Well, there you go, confirmation that we're going to have a rerun. So despite having the advantage in his hands, Steedman wrestled it back. So Redwood making that small mistake, Steedman sends it to a rerun. No chance for any change of tyres. There are the formidable Blue Sunnies as he plucks second, third, and tips are in.
It's interesting to watch the power delivery of these two cars. I mean, an NA V8 in that little nimble FCRX7, followed by a slightly heavier S14 with a 3-litre twin-cam RB in it, making about 400 kilowatt. And even the smoke difference you see there coming out of the corner, I mean, obviously the Mimico S14 struggling a little bit for traction, while this light, nimble NA V8 FCRX7 just really seems to pluck through the corners. And while both of them have their own unique style and their own unique line, there's a clear winner in the road speed advantage there.
Now we see a lot of V8s in Japanese cars, but a V8 in a Mazda RX-7 just seems completely bizarre. It's a combination that works though, that's the important thing. Let's see if we can separate these two. Second time by. Oh, good proximity from Redwood, very nice. That could be the difference.
The emulation there as well, Chad, was just really exceptional. Redwood switching directions exactly as Steedman did. I mean, watch. They'll both enter here slightly out of alignment there, but watch as they come for this transition here. As Steedman switches back, Redwood just followed him really exactly.
Beautiful stuff. And that's why he got the nod from the judges. So after the rerun, it is Andrew Redwood that goes through. And we have just one Kiwi left in the Final Four. And unfortunately for the Kiwis, he's got to take on the best that we have here in Bo Yates. And how about Scott Shemry? Surely he couldn't keep going. Back to Winton. This is round one of the Hi-Tec Oils Trans-Tasman Drift Series. We send it to Sydney next before we go over the ditch in 2016 for the repeat rounds. 2 over there as well. We've had 8 from New Zealand, 8 from Australia, but we've boiled it down to the final 4. 3 Aussies and 1 Kiwi. That's the all-Aussie affair. That's up first. Shemri versus Arbolino. And Shemri, how much further can this poor broken car go?
I mean, it's pretty classic to see that the car that did hit the wall earlier on was helped put back together by the guy chasing him now, Rob Arbolino. Built the motor through the week at the Matooks Racing Workshop. Now after contacting the wall out here, all hands on deck, scrambling, putting a new rear end in that car. And it seems that Shemri really knows how to steer it, even around the difficulties he's having.
He's also had engine dramas this weekend. Before he even pitched the thing into the fence, he's not had a great weekend, but so far it's all working out in this amazing Trans-Tasman Challenge. Somehow, through the broken car, Shemri has the advantage, and he keep it going.
Shemri, an absolute king of the lead runs, just not looking in those mirrors and just going for gold. But now that he's behind a guy that he's very familiar with the driving style of, what will he do in the chase?
Oh, he makes a mistake is what he does.
Big straight and a mistake behind the Matooks Racing S14. Practically handing that to Rob Arbolino. I mean, Shemri got the advantage in the first round through, but now Rob maybe set up for a rerun.
Wow. Well, the judges have scored it as an actual win straight away, so he's overcome the advantage and got the win.
That's fair enough, Chad. I mean, my oversight was that the mistake made earlier on by Rob was only slight, whereas Shemri failed to initiate, straightened up through the corner, and that's an obvious call for Arbolino.
That's enough to see Arbolino go through. So the Super Sub has made the final. Will he race an Australian or a Kiwi? Nice and deep in that first clip. That's what the judges want to see. Redwood a little bit shallow to the second clip. Wants to try and close that gap up over the curb. And maybe that's enough to send Yates with an advantage onto the next run.
We'll see in the Achilles replay here that as much as Beau was really deep and online and lots of angle, Redwood seemed to just be floundering in that chase position. As much as he was quick and there were no bobs backwards and forwards, he was just shallow through that whole inside section, trying to keep up with Beau and even hopping the gutter there and not quite going to track it, just really trying for that proximity that's so difficult to get behind a high-powered car.
So no advantage and still all to play for. Look at that little Mazda skip away.
Yeah, real drag race off the line there. Beau obviously keen to chase up though, closing that gap by going shallow through the first corner and then coming up on the rear bumper of Redwood there. And as they come out onto the straight, Redwood possibly getting a little bit of a gap, but at the sacrifice of angle, really gripping up there, trying to get a straight run up the hill.
Confirmation coming through from the judges. It will be Beau Yates taking the win, so we're headed for an all-Aussie final. The Kiwis have been stopped in the top 4.
Top 2 spots going to be fought out by Rob Arbolino, the sub in this Trans-Tasman Drifting Series, up against Beau the Show Yates. The third and fourth battle between Shemri, the absolute battler of this series after hitting the wall, coming up against that fast little FC of Andrew Redwood.
Yeah, unlucky Andrew Redwood. That could have gone either way after the no advantage first time through. But Yates just doing enough. And what a huge story that is. Arbolino invited in and now in the final.
Hit it. Yeah. Do it like that.
Set for the top 4. Round 1 of the Trans-Tasman battle thanks to Hi-Tec Oils. Here at Winton, we've got 3 trophies to hand out, which means somebody is going to miss out between these two.
Scott Shemri up against the sole remaining Kiwi in this Trans-Tasman Drifting Championship, brought to you by Hi-Tec Oils. Andrew Redwood chasing that car of Scott Shemri into turn 1. Shemri nice and aggressive, but Redwood there right on his bumper, diving into that inner door there through the clip. And as they come out onto the straight, that is pretty close, Chad.
That was nice. A good lead run with a lot of angle and a lot of style, but advantage Redwood because of just the supreme closeness between the two cars right there in particular.
on the switchback here, you can really see how Redwood excels at the emulation. Both cars changing direction at exactly the same time, which is a key judging criteria for the judges.
This car making over 400 kilowatts on the dyno before they brought it down here, but unfortunately it's had some issues. And then it's been in the wall. It's been truly in the war, Scott Shemry. Can he take home a trophy for his efforts? It doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Big straight in there on the transition, sending him across the infield and practically handing that third place on the podium to a Kiwi, Andrew Redwood.
Yes, the judges give it to the little Mazda. Redwood has made the trip across the Tasman, and he'll take a trophy from round one. There's the big straighten up, and crashing across the infield goes Scott Shemry. But you know what? He can leave with his head held pretty high after what happened to him earlier in the round. Let's just check out that big straighten up once again. How spectacular are these cars when they're at full flight?
Yeah, an unfortunate mistake from Shemry there, straightening up here and then heading to the infield. But you know what? I guess we had to send those Kiwis back across the ditch with something, Chad.
Albeit a third place trophy. Let's not get too smug. There's still 3 more rounds to go in this series. Next stop, Sydney Motorsport Park on the South Circuit, and then we head over and we race at tracks like Pukekohe, and that is a difficult place. But we've still got Winton to worry about. Yates versus Arbolino. Can the sub take out the Aussie skipper?
Arbolino with a big entry there behind Bo, who's headed a bit wide there and actually dropped on the dirt and allowed Rob to have the overtake. What an upset, Chad.
Unbelievable. With one hand out, waving at the judges. Yates with an issue, and Arbolino romps it in. Are you kidding me?
Big blaze up the straight, as he has been all weekend. We can see, Bo, what's happened here? On the handbrake a little bit. Some sort of loss of power, or maybe not going down the gears quite quickly enough there, but it looks like a bit of an odd one there, Chad. There doesn't seem to be an obvious mistake from inside the car.
And how good's this? Smoke pouring off the tyres. Arbolino casually just sticks one hand out the window, gets a little bit of the curb while he's at it. That is the sign of a man who knows how to drive.
That's some Matooks racing showmanship style right there. I mean, these boys build quick cars, but they know how to drive them as well.
So all this means for the points that, amazingly, Abbott is our points leader with Arbolino, who is subbing for him. So not a bad way for your sub to come in and help out your championship campaign. Bo Yates with those issues is still looking good in second. Don't write off names like Shemry, Kelly, Edwards. Still some big names to watch out for.
I mean, it's a serious series, Chad. This is only the first round of a 4-round series of the best from Australia and the best from New Zealand coming head to head. Yes, in some backup cars in Australia, but in New Zealand, these guys are going to be bringing their A game, and I cannot wait to see it. But first, Sydney Motorsport Park out on the undulating South Circuit. It's sure to be a cracker of an event.
Dave, thanks for joining me here at Winton. And yes, we cannot wait to see you all at Sydney Motorsport Park for round 2 of the Hi-Tec Oils Trans-Tasman Drifting Championship.